Do you have any sense memory of what any moments after you released records where you could kind of see your influence seeping through to bands that were starting to get prominent? Because that can often, you think of like a band like Big Star or something where like at the time they're around, they don't get as much airplay or credit, but then decades go by and then more people discover them and start kind of sounding like them. Was there anything going on in the aftermath of you guys sort of stopping, I guess, where you're like, oh, like people clearly, I guess Slint is another example. Spiderland's another example where it just, it happened. They kind of broke up shortly after it came out. And then there was this, now you get Slint beach towels. Now there's Slint everywhere. Everyone talks about Spiderland. But do you have a sense of like something going on where you're like, oh, I feel like this is from us, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, the first time it happened, so after that band, I didn't play in a band for a couple years. And then eventually Lamos and I started playing in a band that was like very much like me wanting to be Jeff Tweedy. Like that was my my peak Wilco obsession. And we played together for a few years, and that, you know, we recorded an EP, but it never came out because we broke up when he moved to Boulder. But anyway, when we were in that band, this was probably 2006, we had some other local Chicago band open for us that were like, loved American football.
Oh.
And they were doing the thing. Like they were playing in FAC GCE, and we're like, oh my God, that sounds just like American football. And you guys are way better at it than we were. Like that was probably the first time I realized like, oh, people found this record and figured out what we were doing and are doing a version of it. And I think that like exploded in the last decade with, you know, emo revival bands, and you know, TNG is a UK band that has a similar kind of, and Toe from Japan. I think those are bands that maybe took some modest influence from our band and our scene, probably Cap and Jazz and Ghost and Vodka and other bands as well. But like on steroids, like they took the open tunings and the spindly guitars and, you know, did what Mike and I were doing together with one person. Like Yvette Young is a complete guitar wizard and 10 times better than I am. So now like, a lot of those, especially like with Instagram, people who've become like, you know, internet famous as guitar players, it's almost like sports. Like they're so good at guitar.
Yeah.
It's like kind of ridiculous. It's like impressive, but like, does anyone want to listen to that? I don't know. It's like a different thing when it's so much.